Rama Rama Hare 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 फाउंटेन मन कर फाउंटेन बोर्ड नहीं आज बोर्ड नहीं हरे कृष्ण। आता है जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्री श्रीमती डिवाइन ग्रेस एसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तां सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च दुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So we are reading from the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 1, chapter entitled Observing the Armies on the Battlefield of Kurukshetra. And we are on verse number 4. So I'll read the verse a few times and then anyone of you can follow. Atra Shura Maheshwasa अत्र शूरा महेश्वासा भीमार्जुन समायुधि भीमार्जुन समायुधि युयुधानो विराटश्च युयुधानो विराटश्च द्रुपदश्च महारथः द्रुपदश्च महारथः। अत्र शूरा महेश्वासा भीमार्जुन समायुधि युयुधानो विराटश्च द्रुपदश्च महारथः। अत्र शूरा महेश्वासा भीमार्जुन समायुधि युयुधानो विराटश्च द्रुपदश्च महारथः। Anyone else? Anyone wants to read? अत्र शूरा महेश्वासा भीमार्जुन समायुधि युयुधानो विराटश्च द्रुपदश्च महारथः। अत्र शूरा महेश्वासा भीमार्जुन समायुधि Anyone else? Okay. So we'll see the word to word meaning. Atra, here. Shuraha, heroes. Maheshwasa, mighty bowmen. Bhima Arjuna, to Bhima and Arjun. Samaha, equal. Yudhi, in the fight. Yuyudhanaha, a warrior named Yuyudhan. Virataha, Virat. Cha, also. Drupadaha, Drupada. Cha, also. Maharathaha, great fighter. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Here in this army are many heroic bowmen, equal in fighting to Bhima and Arjun. Great fighters like Yuyudhan, Virat and Drupada. Purport. Even though Drishtadyumna was not a very important obstacle in the face of Dronacharya's very great power in the military art, there were many others who were causes of fear. They are mentioned by Duryodhana here as great stumbling blocks on the path of victory, because each and every one of them was as formidable as Bhima and Arjun. He knew the strength of Bhima and Arjun, and therefore he compared the others with them. So as we saw in the past few weeks, this section is spoken by Duryodhana. Duryodhana is giving an update, an overview of the opposite army. He is out of fear, out of anxiety, he is going to Dronacharya, who is like one of the main generals in Kaurava army, and updating him about the enemy we have to face. He hadn't expected that such a big army will be assembled against their opposition. So he is giving the relative strengths of the prime important warriors on the Pandava army. So everyone knew Bhima and Arjun. They were like the most powerful warriors. And in comparison with Bhima and Arjun, Duryodhana is saying, even these are there. Virat and Drupada and Yuyudhan. And the next few verses, he will again list another set of warriors. And even they are there. This so-and-so persons. So when you know your opposition, then it becomes easier to fight. A known enemy is better than an unknown enemy, right? So when you evaluate the strength, then you devise strategy accordingly. How to fight, who will fight with whom to avoid, whom should be fought later. All those things you can plan if you know who the enemy is, who are the warriors on the enemy side. So in this way, Duryodhana, all these people are famous people. They are not unknown people. Bhima and Arjun were definitely known, but even these people, Yuyudhan, Drupada, the next verse we will see Drishtaketu, Chekitan, all these warriors. So they are well-known warriors. Just like any cricket match or a football match, you need to know who are the main warriors, who is the team member. Accordingly, you devise strategy. If it's a test match, if it's a T20 or a one day, you know who are the people who are strong in certain areas. So the good batsman, fielder, bowler. And according to the pitch condition, according to atmospheric condition, you decide who will play the game. So it's like something like that. It's like a game, and they decide how to devise a strategy. So here we find Duryodhana is describing them as Maheshwasa, means who are great bowmen. So the main weapon is bow and arrow. Along with others, there is Gada, there is sword, and there are many other weapons. But bow and arrow is a main weapon used in this warfare. And it's not just like what we see in Olympic Games or Asiad Games where they shoot some arrows and they have a target and then you hit the target. It's not like that. These wars, when they shoot arrows with the bows, it's not just based on the physical strength of the shooter or of the क्या बोलते हैं उसको thread. All these arrows are driven by mantras. You chant a certain mantra and then you release. The mantra drives the arrow. And the mantra has different levels of destructive power. And one arrow can either kill one person or one arrow can kill 1,000 people, depending on which mantra is used and who is releasing the arrow. Otherwise, when you watch TV serials, Ramayana, Mahabharata, they make it a mockery of the whole show. As if, you shoot an arrow and then his face expression changes and then one arrow disappears and then the other arrow disappears. It appears so comical sometimes. But in those days, it was not really comical. It was really serious business. And they were really powerful weapons. And you had to undergo a great deal of training, years of training, until you become an expert warrior. So they are called Maheshwasa, great shooters of arrows. And in some cases, some warriors were expert in shooting arrows with both hands, right hand and left hand. Like Arjun was one such person. He was equally expert with both hands. Therefore, one of his name is Savyasachi. Savyasachi means one who can shoot arrows with both hands. Arjun also could shoot arrows in the night when there's a darkness. Still, he could shoot arrows and hit the target. Simply by hearing the sound of the person, he could shoot the arrow and hit it. So some people are that kind of expert. In the Ramayana, we find the story of Dasharath, father of Lord Ram. He had gone on hunting and he saw that Shravan Kumar, right? He was carrying his parents and then he heard some sound. He thought it's an animal and he shot the arrow and he hit that boy. And then he hadn't seen the target. Just by the sound, he hit the target. Later, he regretted, understanding that this is actually a human being, not an animal. All the story is a different story. But the point is how by hearing the sound, people could hit the targets, release the arrow and hit the target. So therefore, they are called Maheshwasa, great shooters of arrows. And who are those? Bhima Arjuna Samayadi, as good as Bhima and Arjun. So all these warriors are trained not in shooting arrows alone. All of them knew everything. Dronacharya had taught, along with arrows, club fighting and sword fighting and defense mechanisms. Everything was taught. But some people excelled in certain areas. So here a few names are taken. We will see their history. Yuyudhan, Virat and Drupada. So who are these people? So Yuyudhan is another name of Satyaki. Who is Satyaki? Satyaki happened to be a student of Arjun. He was actually a member of the Yadu dynasty in Dwarka, Krishna's relative in Dwarka. And Satyaki was known to be as good as Arjun in fighting. So Satyaki's name is especially mentioned here. Member of the Vrishni dynasty, close friend of Sri Krishna. And his contribution was immense. There is one instance in the Mahabharata war, I think it was day 13 or 14 of the 18-day war, when Jayadratha was killed. Arjuna had taken a vow that by sunset he will kill Jayadratha. So on that day, Satyaki played a crucial role. So Arjuna had gone chasing Jayadratha, and after some time, Yudhishthir sent Satyaki, Yuyudhan, saying, "Go and help Arjun because he's alone and he has to reach a long distance. So you go and help him." So Satyaki says, "Okay." Actually, Satyaki was kept near Yudhishthir because to protect Yudhishthir. Dronacharya had taken a vow that I will capture Yudhishthir. And if Yudhishthir is captured, then the war ends. So therefore Arjuna had told Satyaki to remain close to Yudhishthir. But then when Yudhishthir saw that Arjuna needs help, so Yudhishthir said, "You go, I will manage myself." So he goes, and then on the way, before reaching Arjun, he met a warrior named Bhurishrava. Bhurishrava had a history. Bhurishrava's father and Satyaki's father, they had an enmity. So Satyaki's father had somehow insulted Bhurishrava's father in some event. So then he decided, my son will insult your son. So then his son was Bhurishrava and Satyaki's father had a son, Satyaki. So there was a battle between these two on this day of Mahabharata. And the battle happened, long war, long battle, long fight. And in that fight, the fight lasted for several hours and Satyaki got exhausted and he almost collapsed on the ground. So that's when Bhurishrava came out and he held Satyaki's hair and dragged him, kind of insulting him. And he was about to chop off his head with a sword. That's when Krishna told Arjun, look, your student, he came all the way to help you. He was helping you all the way. Now his life is in danger. Do something. So Arjun saw this. His hand raised, Bhurishrava's hand raised, about to cut off Satyaki's head. So Arjun immediately released an arrow, which cut off Bhurishrava's hand. And Bhurishrava didn't know Arjun is shooting the arrow. And suddenly his hand got cut off with the sword held in his hand. And he turned back. Who is this unknown warrior shooting at me? Because usually in Kshatriya warfare, you don't attack anyone without warning. You have to inform, okay, I'm challenging you. And then you fight. Without challenge, without warning, you cannot attack anyone. So Bhurishrava was surprised. How could Arjun do this? You didn't challenge me. And from behind you are shooting an arrow and cutting off my hand. So then he turned and saw Arjun, and then he started abusing Arjun. How could you do this, Arjun? I thought you are a respectable warrior. You come from a nice, respectable family, and you did this. And he started abusing Arjun. And then he said, maybe because you are associating with Krishna, who is a cheater. Therefore, you cheated me. So Arjun couldn't tolerate this insult to Krishna. He said, wait, before you open your mouth. You are the one who was attacking Satyaki when he was unarmed. He had collapsed on the ground and you dragged him and you are cutting his head. That is against the principle of Kshatriya warfare. You cannot kill anyone when he is unarmed, without any arms. So you are violating a principle. So then I have the right to violate a principle and kill you or attack you. And I am using this to protect my assistant, not anyone. He's a part of my team. So in this way, he justified his act. And Bhurishrava didn't have an answer. And eventually, he died also. So that is Satyaki. Satyaki was very well known. And he survived till the 18th day. 18th day of the war. And on the 18th day, when the war had ended, almost ended, and everyone was resting in their camp, then Drishtadyumna comes in the middle of the night and he attacks a lot of people there. And at that time, Satyaki was killed, the last day. No, he survived. He didn't, Satyaki didn't get killed. Drishtadyumna got killed. Satyaki survived the entire war. He was there till the end. So that is Yuyudhan. Yuyudhan is another name of Satyaki. Then the next warrior mentioned here is Virat. Virat is a famous king. The Pandavas had stayed their 13th year, Agyatavas, in the kingdom of Virat. So Virat is a kingdom not very far away from Hastinapur. Somewhere in modern day Bihar, that's the place, or maybe UP. So 13th year they had to spend incognito, Agyat. So they were wondering where to stay. And they were discussing towards the end of the 12th year, they're thinking where to stay. So many people advised, you go here, you go there. Jai Shri Radha Gopinath Bhagwan ki. So many people came and told, this is the best place. Yamaraj, who is the father of Yudhishthir, he also advised that you can stay in this country, Virat. And I bless you that no one will be able to detect you. Although even if you roam around freely, without any disguise, still no one will be able to find you out. So you go there. That's when they decide to go there. But still they decide to disguise. They didn't take the risk of remaining open. So everyone took certain roles in the kingdom of Virat. They took up small jobs. Yudhishthir became the court jester in Virat's kingdom. Bhima became the cook. Arjun became a dance teacher, Brihannala. Nakul became, I think, horse keeper. Sahadev became cowherd man. Draupadi became a servant of the queen. So in this way, they took up certain menial jobs. And they would communicate among themselves secretly. The king didn't know, queen didn't know, no one knew. And in this way, they were spending their time. In that 1 year, they had to undergo several challenges. Insults and life threats. Draupadi had to undergo a threat. There was this commander known as Kichak who tried to molest her one night. And then she called out to Bhima, and then Bhima fought with him and killed him. There's a nice story about that, Kichak getting killed. And then they would insult them. They didn't know they are like warriors, 5 Pandavas. And the Virat king, old man, he would think, oh, he's my cook. He would order Bhima, do this, do that. He would make Bhima entertain him. As like a wrestler, तू ये गेम खेल ये नाच, तो ऐसा उसको नचाते थे उसको. He would employ some wrestlers, and then they would fight, and then they would call Bhima. Now you fight. So Bhima initially would play a small, little, smooth game. But then after some time he would get bored. And then he would kill the wrestler itself. So in this way, all those months they passed. So Virat, towards the end of the 13th year, the Hastinapur, Duryodhana was wondering, 13th year is about to get over. Where are these Pandavas? We have to find them out. Because the condition was, if the Pandavas are detected on the 13th, before the 13th year ends, then what? Then they have to again go through 12-year forest life. Strange condition, right? You fulfill all the condition, and one little loophole, you have to again go through 12 plus 1, 13. So this was a plan, Duryodhan's, that we will perpetually keep them in the forest only, all the while. 12 साल उनको निकालने दो, 13th year we will find out, because our spy network is very strong, our armies are very strong. कहीं पे भी हो, we will find them out. 1 year is there, we can easily find them out. That was the whole idea. So they spent all their spies, but still they couldn't find out. Where are these people hiding? And ऐसा नहीं कि कोई लल्लू पंजू है. They are very famous people. Anyone कहीं पे भी है, you will come to know. But still they couldn't find out. So then they asked Bhishma. Duryodhana went to Bhishma and asked, where could the Pandavas be? We are unable to find them out. So Bhishma said, there is one easy method to find them out. Whichever kingdom is prosperous, flourishing, happy, proper rains, proper climate, proper, everything is nice economically, people are happy, peaceful, no disturbance, no diseases. That's where you will find the Pandavas. So then they started researching, which is the kingdom happiest all over Bharatvarsha. Then they felt it could be Virat. Virat appears to be the kingdom is prospering nicely. So then how to go directly and check? You can't directly go and say, Arey, kidhar hai Pandavas? You can't do that, right? So the best way to find out if the Pandavas are really there in Virat, the best way to make them come out is war. Because if they are warriors, they will definitely come out. Fighting opportunity hai, then they will definitely come out. So they attack the kingdom. So that's what they did. They said, we will attack with a huge army and steal their property, steal their cows. Cows is considered the main property. Godhan. Nowadays we send cows to slaughterhouses. But in those days, cows were like the main wealth of a country. More cows mean more wealthy country. So they said, we will attack the kingdom and steal their cows. So then they decided, they fixed a date. And then all these warriors, Bhishma, Drona, all the main warriors of Hastinapur, they came with a huge army and attacked the main kingdom from the front end. Simultaneously, there was another king who attacked the kingdom from the backside, from the southern end. So when they attacked, there was a son of Virat. His name was Uttar Kumar. He said, so when the king saw the army attacked, kingdom attacked, he was afraid. He said, what to do now? Such a huge army, Hastinapur army is like the best army in the world. Who can compare with them? Our army is comparatively small. So who will face? And I am an old man. He said, someone has to lead. The main leader, Kichak, the army general, was killed. So then Uttar Kumar comes up and starts bragging. Don't worry, my dad. I will lead the army. I will take care. So everyone heard him and then they said, congratulations. Yes, you can do it. But then he said, I need a chariot driver. Sarathi ke bina, how can you fight? Right? So who will become the Sarathi? Sarathi has to be he's an important role. The warrior may be expert, but if the driver is not expert, then you can't face the army. So someone has to be an expert chariot driver. So if I can find one, then I'll go. So they were wondering who should become the chariot driver. So at that time, Yudhishthir, who was acting as a court jester, he said, I know one who can be a good chariot driver. He said, Brihannala. Brihannala is a good chariot driver. So everyone started laughing. Brihannala? He is a eunuch. Eunuch कैसे chariot कभी chariot देखा है क्या उसने? कभी लड़ाई रणभूमि में कभी गया है क्या? How can he fight? And he is a dance teacher. How can you expect him to drive a chariot? And when he sees the army, what will happen to him? Who knows? But then Yudhishthira assured, no, Brihannala. If at all you want a good chariot driver, that is Brihannala. So initially everyone dismissed his suggestion. But then he kept on insisting, Brihannala, Brihannala. So Virat got angry. He thought he's insulting my son. Eunuch ko bhej rahe aap log. My son is like a hero and then isko chariot driver bana rahe aap. So he took something in his hand and he threw at Yudhishthir's face. It hit him and then blood started flowing. But then someone came and, no, Draupadi came immediately and nursed the wounds. But then everyone assured him he is a good chariot driver. Finally, he selected him. And then they went with his army to face a Kuru army. सामने खड़ा है attack के लिए. And as soon as he went there, when Uttar Kumar saw a huge army lined up, all these big towering personalities, Karna is there, Bhishma is there, Dronacharya, Duryodhan, Shakuni, he actually got afraid. He had never seen such a thing, such a scene. And he said, I can't fight this war, Baba. He said, you fight. He's telling Brihannala. He jumped out of the chariot and started running behind, saying, I cannot fight. So Arjun, Brihannala, he said, come on. In the palace, you were bragging big things. I will fight, I will fight. अभी जब समय आया लड़ाई करने का, you are running away. What kind of Kshatriya are you? So Arjun dragged him, saying, come back. Either fight and get killed. That is a better position than running away from the battlefield out of fear. So somehow he dragged him, but he said, I cannot fight. I don't know. I can't face his army. So Arjun said, I will fight. I will fight. You become the chariot driver. Let us exchange roles. You become the chariot driver, I will fight. So you will fight? Eunuch, tum kaise ladoge? So don't worry, I will fight. But I need my weapons. So let us go and collect my weapons. You take the chariot. There is a tree there. He pointed to a tree. He went there. You climb the tree. My weapons are stored there in a bundle. Get them down. And then he opened the bundle and saw all these Gandiva bow and all the arrows, all these bright, brilliant weapons. So Uttar Kumar said, Bapre, whose weapons are they? Then Arjun reveals his identity. Do you know who I am? I am Arjun, Pandava Arjun, the younger brother of Yudhishthir. So he looks at him. I thought you are Brihannala, eunuch. You are Arjun, famous Gandhivadhari, Dhananjay Arjun. So then he explains the whole story, Arjun, in a brief. And then he understood, oh, okay. And then he apologizes for insulting him all these years, all these months. Finally, they get ready. Arjun gets ready for battle. He gets ready to drive the chariot. And then they go again. And Arjun blows a shankh. So that's when the Kuru warriors are looking at all this. Right? They are watching. यहाँ पे आ गया एक लड़का, and then he, out of fear, he jumped out of the chariot and then starts running away, and then the eunuch is catching him, dragging him, talking something, and then they're going there, collecting the weapons. Dronacharya, Bhishma and all, everyone is observing this from a distance. And they're wondering, who is this? This person looks familiar. पहचान का लग रहा है. But like he dressed as a eunuch, तो है कौन? So Bhishma tells him, this is Arjun. I think this is Arjun. But Arjun agar hai, then we are successful. 13th year is not over. If he's really Arjun, then they have to again go to the forest. So Bhishma does some astrological calculations. And he says, actually, 13th year is over. And they have fulfilled their promise. But then Duryodhan says, no, actually it happened like this, and then a few more days are left for 13th year to get over. They have to go back. Then Bhishma insists, no, 13th year is over actually, and this has to be Arjun. If the 13th year is not over, he wouldn't have come out and exposed himself. So now, before you do argue within ourselves, let us fight. A big danger is awaiting us. Let us get ready for the war. And save your life first before thinking of sending them back. So then they get ready, and Arjun also gets ready now. And then there's a big war. Arjun actually single-handedly, with one by one, he fights and defeats everyone. Duryodhan, Karna, Bhishma. Karna is also defeated there. The same Karna who keeps bragging every time, I am better than Arjun, I am better than Arjun. Karna got defeated here. But Arjun doesn't kill anyone. He doesn't kill. He spares everyone's life but defeats everyone. So that's Arjun. One man, a small army, he actually fought with an entire big set of warriors. So in the Gita, first chapter, when he is facing the same army, few months back he fought in Virat's kingdom, and defeated everyone. The same army, almost the same people are standing there now, and he's facing the same people. But at in this situation, his emotions are different. In Virat, he knew, I just have to defeat them. I don't have to kill anyone. But now the situation is different. I have to actually kill them. They are waiting to kill me, and I am supposed to kill them. That's why he suffers a emotional breakdown. Therefore, he collapses, and then he says, I don't want to fight. They are so loving. They are the ones who raised me like a father. Bhishma was like my father. Drona was my teacher. All these people have given me so much love and affection. Now you're telling me to kill them? That's difficult. Same situation he didn't face in Virat. So in this way, Virat's name is mentioned here. Duryodhana is mentioning Virat's name. Another name mentioned is Drupada. Drupada we saw the other day, last week. Drupada was the one, father of Draupadi, father of Drishtadyumna. So Drupada was a very, very powerful king. Almost like the Pandavas. And big, powerful ally the Pandavas had. Drupada had his enmity with the Kuru empire, Kuru kingdom. So naturally, because Draupadi was there, connected to the family, he aligned with the Pandavas and he supported the Pandavas. Drupada in the war, in the battle of Mahabharat, Dronacharya killed him on the 13th, 14th day of the war. So Dronacharya killed Drupada. Drupada's son Drishtadyumna killed Dronacharya. Dronacharya's son Ashwathama killed Drishtadyumna. In this way, बाप बेटे का जान ले रहे थे. And Ashwathama killed everyone on the last day. So in this way, these names are mentioned. In the next verse, he makes another set of names. Drishtaketusche kitana kashirajascha viryavan Purujit kunti bhojascha Shaibhyascha narapungavaha. So who are these people? Drishtaketu. Drishtaketu was the son of Shishupal. Heard of the name Shishupal? Shishupal was the one who was killed by Krishna during the Rajasuya sacrifice. Shishupal was Jai Vijay earlier in their earlier life, who came down as demons in 3 lives. First they came as Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. Then they came as Ravan and Kumbhakarna. In the 3rd life, they came as Shishupal and Dantavakra. Vaikuntha gatekeepers. So Shishupal's son was Drishtaketu. Drishtaketu was siding the Pandavas in the war. And he supplied 1 Akshauhini division of soldiers to the Pandavas. Out of 7 Akshauhini army they had, 1 Akshauhini was supplied by Drishtaketu. And Drishtaketu was killed on the 18th night. When they were sleeping, Ashwathama comes in the middle of the night without any warning, kills him. Chekitana. Chekitana is another king who was killed by Duryodhan in the war. Then there is Kashiraj. Kashiraj's name is not given. He is addressed as the king of Kashi. And is described as Viryavan, very heroic. So Kashi is modern day Varanasi, the king of Varanasi. And he was a great devotee of Vishwanath, Lord Shiva, Kashi Vishwanath. So that is Kashiraj. Purujit. Purujit was a king who happened to be the son of King Kunti Bhoj. Kunti Bhoj is the Kunti, mother, Pandavas' mother Kunti. Kunti's father was Kunti Bhoj. He had another son called Purujit and one more son called Kunti Bhoj. Father is also Kunti Bhoj, son is also Kunti Bhoj. Similar name. So two sons, Purujit and Kunti Bhoj, they also sided with the Pandavas in the war. And Shaibya, another king. Shaibya's actual name was Govas. And he was a father-in-law of Yudhishthir. So Yudhishthir had another wife. His father-in-law was Shaibya. So he and the king of Kashi, they came, supplied 1 Akshauhini soldiers to the Pandavas. Out of the 7. 1 Akshauhini came from Dwarka, 1 Akshauhini came from Drishtaketu, another Akshauhini came from these two combined kings, Kashi Raj and Kunti Bhoj. Narapungava. They are described as Narapungava. Narapungava means very powerful heroes. Bull among Nara. Sometimes, so great kings are sometimes compared to lion, sometimes compared to Rishabha, bull, tigers, tiger among men, lion among men, bull among men. That's the comparison given. Then the next verse says, Yudhamanyascha vikranta uttamaujascha viryavan saubhadro draupadeyascha sarva eva maharathaha. So Duryodhana is continuing the list of various Pandava warriors. Yudhamanyu. Who is this? Yudhamanyu was a prince of the Panchal kingdom who took his position as the bodyguard of Arjun. Some kings had the bodyguards to protect. So Yudhamanyu was the bodyguard of Arjun. He was killed by Ashwathama. Vikranta, he was like warrior, courageous. Uttamaujaha. Uttamauja was another king who belonged to the Panchal dynasty. In the war, he protected the right wheel of Arjun's chariot. Just see, when there's a big warrior, he needs so many assistants. So he's protecting the right wheel of Arjun's chariot. He was also killed by Ashwathama. Then there is Saubhadra. Who is Saubhadra? Son of Subhadra. Who is Abhimanyu. Saubhadro Draupadi. So Abhimanyu is the son of Subhadra, and so Abhimanyu's marriage with Subhadra, Arjun's marriage with Subhadra is also interesting. That is described in the 10th canto, how Arjun went to Dwarka and by Krishna's arrangement he kidnapped Subhadra. And they got married, and the son born to them was Abhimanyu. So Abhimanyu got trained in warfare in Dwarka. His Krishna's son named Pradyumna was the one who trained him in warfare. And later he learned it from Arjun also. But mainly Pradyumna had taught him the skills of warfare. And in the war, we know this Chakravyuha was formed. Dronacharya on one day had arranged his army in Chakravyuha formation. Chakravyuha is like circular, a mysterious circle. And there is an art of going inside and coming out. So when the Abhimanyu was in the womb of his mother, Subhadra, Arjun had a casual talk with her, describing how to break open the Chakravyuha and how to fight. But then the conversation ended in the middle. So he described how to enter, but before he could describe how to come out, the conversation ended. So Abhimanyu was in his mother's womb. He heard the signs of entering, but he couldn't hear how to come out. And then later somehow he didn't learn it for whatever reason. So then on this day of Mahabharata war, Dronacharya arranged Chakravyuha formation. And Yudhishthira was looking, who will lead? But none of them knew. Only 4 or 5 people knew in the entire planet. One was Abhimanyu, Krishna knew, of course, Arjun knew, Karna knew, Balaram knew. Handful of people knew the art of Dronacharya knew, of course, Bhishma knew. So when this Chakravyuha formed, they were wondering who will now lead, because Arjun was far away. He was engaged in some other battle with some other group of warriors. So Yudhishthira couldn't find any capable person who could lead. So he called Abhimanyu, who happened to be only 16-year-old boy. 16-year-old. And he said, look, you have to lead us. We will follow behind. But the science is, when you break open the Chakravyuha, then others can penetrate. And you have to ensure that the Chakravyuha doesn't close again. Once you close, again, then you need a person who breaks open. So once it is open, then others can ensure it is remained open. It remains open, and then penetrate, and fight the war. So our Yudhishthira said, don't worry, we will follow you. We have so many expert people. We will follow and ensure. We'll protect you from behind. But you lead us. So Abhimanyu said, okay. As long as you are there, my uncles and great warriors, I don't mind. So that's what they did. Abhimanyu led the charge. And he successfully broke open the Chakravyuha, killing so many warriors in between. Hundreds were falling down. And behind they were closely following. And it appeared everything is going nice. And suddenly one thing happens. One king called Jayadratha comes up. And he challenges the Yudhishthira and Bhima and others. So Abhimanyu has gone in. And then they challenge Yudhishthira and others. And Jayadratha had a special blessing from Lord Shiva, Shankar. Because of which the blessing was, once in your life you will be able to defeat the Pandavas. So he employed that blessing on this day. Otherwise, Jayadratha was not a very well-known warrior. Like an ordinary warrior. ऐसा कोई महान expert नहीं था वो. But somehow, Bhima or Yudhishthira, all these people couldn't defeat him on that day. So they checked him, he checked them. And what happened? Chakravyuha closed. And Abhimanyu is trapped inside. So once you close, then there is no one again to break open. So he got inside, and then we know the story, how he fought with several people and then he was killed. Six warriors simultaneously attacked him. Dronacharya, Duryodhan, Karna, Dushasan, and two more. They simultaneously attacked him and killed him. So that was like breaking the principle. You are not supposed to attack one person. 6 people, more than one people cannot attack. So the first time, the principles of warfare was broken. And from there on, others also started breaking the principles. Ek ne tod diya to then it's a vicious effect. So in this way, Abhimanyu was killed. Yudhamanyuscha Vikranta Uttama Saubhadro Draupadeyascha Sarva Eva Maharasa. Draupadeyascha is sons of Draupadi. Draupadi had 5 husbands, 1 son from each of them, 5 sons, Draupadeya. And all of them were killed by Ashwatthama on the last day, 18th day of the war, in the middle of the night. So in this way, Duryodhana is describing the main warriors on the side of the Pandavas. And after this, next verse onwards, he will start describing the warriors on his side, Kaurava side. So we'll stop here. Anyone has any comments or thoughts, we can take.
Hare Krishna. Excellent details of the entire warfare, as well as the 13 years of exile. Now Ajnatavasa is one thing which is very, very mysterious game of this warfare. How to get trapped the Pandavas in the last year also. Is that also relatively applicable in our today's life? Is there anything check and balance happening? And if that's so, how does one come out of it? Thank you.
Agyata was in today's times?
Is there anything in
I am not aware.
Because if so, how does one?
I have not heard anyone applying this principle in today's times. I don't know.
No, this only came out of of course. If that happened in the Bhutkal.
Maybe I am not aware of any such thing.
No, I'm only because awareness creates knowledge. That's where I thought maybe I could ask you, because you have been so lucid, so every detail you gave us excellent explanation, enlightening a lot of people because it is a real education for us because nowhere else you get this kind of explanation in terms of Mahabharata, because Mahabharata, everybody thinks it's war, nothing but war. वो घर में महाभारत चलता है. That does not mean that, but something. So this is where so.
Yeah, people are scared to purchase Gita from us sometimes. They feel Gita है तो हमारे घर में महाभारत होगा. As if there is no Mahabharata happening now. So, actually the Gita can solve the Mahabharata if it is happening at your home.
Really, so Prabhuji, because it is actually pearls of wisdom. Because if one reads it properly and related to our daily life, it is something which not available in the universe elsewhere really. So that's where. If I have 1 minute more, I would share my own experience. Because I used to be a frequent flyer and around. So I used to carry a small Mahabharata in my baggage. And it really, has saved, helped, in terms of, difficulties, whether it is business or in personal. That's my experience. So it is definitely, it's not at all, what people talk about. Mahabharata is not warfare at all. But how do you win the war?
Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Hare Krishna. We have a Gita course coming up. People that are standing there with the pamphlets and posters. If anyone wants to register for a 3-day Gita course that is coming up in March 2024 to 26, you can register there. That's it will give you a nice overview of the whole Gita philosophy. Hare Krishna.